What you mean? You already know.
First of all, in the days of Noah, the scripture reveals four major features. Number 1. There was satanic infiltration of the human race by satanic angels who came and cohabited with human women. Satanic infiltration is the key phrase. And then number 2, their whole thought life was corrupted. Every intent of the thoughts of their hearts was only evil continually. Number 3, there was sexual perversion. It says all flesh had corrupted its way. That's the Bible's way of saying sexual relationships had become abnormal and perverse. And fourth, the earth was filled with violence. I think perhaps we need to pause and meditate on those four features of the time of Noah. Satanic infiltration, corrupted thought life, and in our day I would say one of the main instruments that Satan has used to corrupt our thought life is the television. I'm not preaching against television, I'm just saying it is a main instrument that Satan has used to corrupt the thought life of, I suppose, billions of people. And, most of it initiated in the United States. That's a fact for which we as American citizens have got to accept responsibility. Our nation has poured forth countless hours of filth and corruption that have really affected most of the world today. Then it says there's sexual perversion. Today this is commonplace. I came to realize that there was sexual perversion in the church about 30 years ago, and practiced by Christians who were church members, especially the abuse of young boys and girls. But nobody talked about it in those days, and it was a shock to me when I discovered that this was what was going on. But today it is generally discussed, it is widely declared. And everybody knows it's happening not only amongst the unsaved but also in the church. Sexual perversion is fashionable. There are many unconverted people who boast of it. There are programs on the television that actually take delight in exposing all the nasty details. Just as it was in the days of Noah. And then the earth was filled with violence. If there's one feature of Noah's day that is being repeated in our day, it's pervasive violence. Now let's turn to the time of Lot. Lot lived in a city, Sodom, which has given its name to a particular sexual perversion which is now misnamed being gay. I'm sorry, but the beautiful word gay has been perverted to that ugly use. I don't call it gay, I call it homosexuality or sodomy. The main feature of Sodom was blatant, aggressive homosexuality. They didn't just practice it, they were aggressive in the practice of it. When Lot invited the two angels in, it says all the men from every quarter of the city, both young and old, came to demand sex with these two newcomers. That's all the men from every area of the city, both young and old. The whole city was totally pervaded with that. In both cases, in the case of Noah and in the case of Lot, Jesus speaks about another feature. It's better to read it in Luke 17. He says about the days of Noah in verse 27. They ate, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage. And then it says in verse 28. Likewise as it also was in the days of Lot. They ate, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they built. Now, Jesus mentions 8 specific activities: eating, drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, buying and selling, building and planting. I want to ask you, is there anything intrinsically sinful about any of those activities? The answer is no. What was the problem? The problem was they were so immersed in those activities that they didn't recognize the days in which they were living. I would sum that problem up in one word: materialism. They were so immersed in the material that they no longer had any understanding or alertness for the spiritual and the eternal. How much materialism is there in our Western civilization today? I would say it is virtually inundated with it. And believe me, it is by no means excluded from the church. I think there are many professing Christians who are in their hearts just as materialistic as the people of the world. Maybe a little less demonstrative about it, they don't show it in their lifestyle, but they are absorbed with materialism. There's a good side to the day of Noah, let's not forget that. It says, but Noah walked with God. There was one man out of all those people who had an intimate, personal relationship with God. God could speak to him and tell him how he viewed the situation and the judgment that he was going to bring. I'd like to read from Hebrews 11, just that one verse about Noah. I believe Noah is a pattern for us as believers as we live in the world today. Noah and his family were the only survivors. It seems to me clear that only those people who live like Noah and his family will survive today. Hebrews 11:7. By faith Noah, Being divinely warned of things not yet seen, moved with godly fear, prepared an ark for the saving of his household, by which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is according to faith. So there was one man in that whole evil situation that walked with God. He had daily communion with God. God could speak to him, reveal to him what was coming on the earth, and show him the only way of salvation for him and for his family. This is all made possible by Jesus Christ.